Well, I agree with many of the things he's saying, and I disagree with many of the things he's saying. Number one, an application for relief is not a lawsuit. You're not suing anybody, okay? You're not, what you're doing is you are granted the chance to apply for something, and that's not a lawsuit. A lawsuit is when I'm fighting against you for something, and I'm not. An application for relief is that I'm saying, look at what I have here, look what I have done, and see if based on what I have done, I qualify for this relief based on this application. So that's the number one thing. Number two, not all illegal aliens enter illegally. A lot of them come with visas, and they just overstay. The theory now is to call them undocumented, and that's wrong. To me, an undocumented person is someone who has no documents, who has no papers. If you're illegal in the United States, you have papers. You have the papers that you came in with. They're just not good anymore because you overstayed your stay, or you did something with them that you were not supposed to do. Immigration courts try to do the best they can with a system that's archaic. It doesn't function anymore. I mean, it's a system that was developed a century ago, almost, and it doesn't work. EOIR was established in 1983, I believe, okay? Before that, the immigration judges were not even judges at all. They were like immigration officers, and I've been practicing since 1976. Okay, I go back to where EOIR didn't exist. There was only one file. The same file was handled by the officer that arrested you, the trial attorney that presented the charges, and the judge that either deported you or granted you relief. There were 3 judges in Miami at that point in time: Foster, Mattingly, and Monsanto. They were all Haitians. I mean, the reason that I got into immigration was that I was raised in Cuba by a Haitian woman, so I understood Creole and French. I went to apply for a job while in law school at Legal Services, and there was all these black people screaming and yelling, and the receptionist didn't know what to do. I got on top of the table, told them to shut up in French, and she said, "Whatever you want, you're hired." Okay, and that's how my immigration career began. Okay, then I was married to a lawyer who did everything but immigration. I figured I better get good at it, and thank God I did, because when I got divorced, that was all I had left. So, but the point is, in order to represent a client, the client has to be able to merit the relief based on the application that you're applying for. The one thing that is very, very controversial in immigration law is that everything is based on at the discretion of the Attorney General. At the discretion means I do whatever I feel like. Okay? That's what discretion means. If it's at my discretion that you all sit here, then you stay. If that's at my discretion that you don't and I don't like you, I ask you to leave. And that is basically what happens in immigration courts. Everything is at the discretion. Now, not everyone has the mental capacity to handle discretion. Not everyone can leave their problems at the door and enter a courtroom as he did. He did with, honestly, you were. And I'm not saying that because you invited me, but it's true. He was open-minded. Some judges are not open-minded, okay? Some people carry their bigotry into the courtroom. Some of the prosecutors carry their bigotry into the courtroom. I mean, I remember representing someone with full-blown AIDS, and the prosecutor saying to me, "How can you represent somebody like that? Homosexuality is a bar to good moral character." I mean, like, what century are you living in, please, And this is the mentality that they carry into court, that every alien is a bad alien and should stay home. And that's not what should bring you to prosecute a case. Sometimes the cases that are brought before the court they're foolish. I mean, can you believe that someone who takes a toothbrush from CVS on Monday and a pair of tweezers from Walgreens on Tuesday has been convicted of 2 crimes involving moral turpitude and therefore is deportable? It doesn't matter that you've been here for 40 years, but those 2 crimes make you deportable. And some prosecutor actually looks at that and says, this person should be deported because the toothbrush and the tweezers increase the taxpayer's cost of stealing. I mean, please, come on. Let's spend our money on something that deserves it more than that. And the immigration courts in Miami, which is the courts that I've known, I practice in Miami and I practice in Texas. Texas it's like a zoo. Texas is all poor Mexicans screaming and yelling, and it has, honestly, you can't fix this system. You can't. You have to start all over. And even if you start all over, Judge, even if you make it an Article 1 court like you want, it's never going to be a quick system because of 2 things. Number one, most aliens that appear before the immigration court do not speak English. Okay, so you have to hear the case in stereo. You have to hear it in Spanish or whatever language it is, and then you have to hear it in English. The attorneys have to be sitting there wondering if what their client said is exactly what the interpreter translated and what the judge heard. Now, in my case, I can speak two languages, so I understand more or less, but a lot of other lawyers don't. And then you get these people coming in from who are not, who don't even speak any language. They speak a dialect. So you have to get an interpreter that goes from the dialect to Spanish or to whatever it is that, that the person can understand, and then from that to English. And sometimes you sit there and it's objection, Your Honor, because nobody understands what's going on, because what the alien seems to be saying makes no sense as to what the interpreter is saying. So, when you have a bunch of little Guatemalans sitting there that each one of them speaks a different dialect, there is no way to hurry the system. There is just no way to make it quick. So that's not going to happen. You're not going to find a system that's quick. Number two, our system of law allows people to appeal. It's our right to appeal. That is what our system is based on. If you don't like the verdict that you got, you appeal the verdict. Now, you can't blame people for appealing. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to remain in the United States. And a lot of times, the appeals are successful. They actually win on appeal. So that is a chance that they have. And if they don't, if the BIA does not affirm their appeal, then they can go to the 11th Circuit Court, which is not the best in the world. The 11th Circuit is like, it's really bad when it comes to aliens. The 9th Circuit is a lot better, but the 11th, but anyway, if it's true. You get up there to Atlanta and, you have a chance in hell of having something granted. But take the chance. What the heck? You have nothing to lose. Now, it is a fact that we have no control over immigration, and we never will. It's just not going to happen, okay? As long as America is the land of opportunity and the land of freedom, and as long as our tourist brochures show our streets like this and show our bathrooms and toilets and that kids can go to school, people want to come over here. It's just the way it is. And once they're here, they like it. They want to stay. And a lot of them are very productive people. Now, I came in through a legal system, and I understand the legal system. But I also understand the yearning of someone who's persecuted in their country, who actually can't wait to be processed as a refugee, because you may die in Bosnia waiting for the American consulate to grant you asylum or to grant you refuge, which is what they do. An asylee is someone who is granted asylum in the United States. A refugee is someone who comes in, okay, under Section 209 as a refugee and gets status in this country. Now, the one thing that we do have to stop is we have to stop rewarding things that are not correct. Now, women come to this country, and for some idea, they believe that if they just breed like rabbits, okay, they're going to be able to stay here. And each one of those children costs us a lot of money. We have to teach people that this is not the way, what's called anchor babies. And actually, they're no anchor at all, because they'll deport you no matter how many kids you have. The idea that a baby would grant you residency was over in 1979 when the regulations changed. But people have to understand that to live in America, we have to follow the regulations here. We have to follow the law. There is no way to control the borders. Unless we do like in Star Trek and just beam them when they cross over, it's just not going to happen. You're not going to have a bunch of people being able to control it. And smuggling is a $1 billion a year industry. People in Miami pay $15,000, $16,000, $20,000 to have their relatives brought over. So, it's not going to stop unless we punish the people for doing that. We have to enforce the smuggling laws. We have to enforce, Texas, Arizona, California, they're like revolving. I have actually had a client who's being deported call me and ask me for an appointment for Tuesday. And I said, what are you talking about? You're in jail. Yeah, I'm being deported, but I'll be back on Tuesday. That's horrible. I said, I can't see you on Tuesday. I don't want you as a client. I can't do that. I have to report you. Well, go right ahead. It doesn't matter. Somebody else will see me. And that's true. They come. It's like a revolving door. They come back because we don't enforce the law. Now, can we enforce the law? No. There are not enough jails to put them in. What? How many people cross the border every day, Judge? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000?
More than that.
Okay, fine. Where are you going to put them? Okay? Where are you going to house them? You will need to get like Greyhound buses and just hold them in the buses or something, or build a tent city. There's no way to hold, and they know that. They know that. They know that if they don't get in the first time, they'll get in the second time or the third. And once they mingle with the population, there's no way to detect them. We have a center in Miami called Chrome. It's a detention center. Some people actually like it there. The food is excellent. They have medical assistants, they have beds, they have clean clothes, they teach them arts and crafts. I mean, it's like, people have come over and said, I live better at Chrome than I did at home. I like it there. And a lot of them, they do. And they appeal their cases and everything else so that they can stay there. Because life for them is so hard in their country that they'd rather be in jail here than be over there. But the immigration courts, the way he saw it from this side, I see it from the other side, okay? I try to be conscientious about the people that I represent because this is my country. And these are the people that are going to be with me in my country. And I want them to be people that are worthy to be in America. I mean, I don't consider myself a Cuban American. I am an American. I was born in Cuba, but I am an American by choice. I chose to be a citizen of this country. And I love the United States. I don't want some crap living next to me, some person that's going to sell drugs or, that's not what I want for America. But the judges sometimes are just, their hands are tied. Their hands are tied because no matter what they do, it's wrong. And I think that the problem that EOIR has that it doesn't report what's actually happening because they're afraid to report it. They're afraid that if they actually say what's going on, they may lose their jobs. I mean, somebody may just come and erase the whole court and fire everybody and start all over. But the judges do a great job considering the limitations. They also have attorneys that get up there. Some of the attorneys can't even speak English, Judge. Isn't that?
That's true.
I mean, can you imagine getting up in front of a courtroom? How can you represent? But your client doesn't know that because he doesn't speak English either. So the judges have a very, very hard time handing down their decisions. And like I said, there's no way to fix this. You would have to just start all over with a new system, more adapt to the aliens that we have now.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay.